Okay, and this point we consider the direct proportion. And direct proportion, we are going to look at the square, the cube, the square root, and the cube root. Okay, now this first question says that in a spring, the tension T Newton is directly proportional to the extension X cm. When the tension is 150 Newton, the extension is 6 cm. The first question says find a formula for T in terms of X. Okay, now let's look at this first question. Let's look at the first question. I'll use this to be my question number 1. Now the first question says that the spring in the tension is directly proportional to the extension. The tension is T. T is directly proportional to the extension, which means that we have this that T is equal to Kx, and know that this K, we call this K the constant of proportionality. So looking at the question says that when the tension is 150 Newton, that is T, the extension is 6 cm. That is, when T is 150 Newton, extension is 6 cm. I will substitute this in this equation. We have that T is 150 is equal to K times 6, which gives me divide here by 6, divide here by 6. That means that K is equal to 25. K is equal to 25. If I divide 150 by 6, I have 25. So the first question says find a formula for T in terms of X. That means the formula will now be, I will substitute my K to be 25. I will now have that T is equal to 25x. T is equal to 25x. And this is the answer of A. Okay, let's look at B. The B part says calculate the tension, that is T, in Newton when the extension is 15 cm. When extension is 15 cm, we are asked to find T when extension is 15 cm. Okay, now I will use this formula to look for any other thing I want to look under this question. So we have T to be 25. X is 15. 25 times 15. That gives us that T will be 25 times 15 will give us 375 Newton. That is the answer. Okay. Now the C part says calculate the extension in cm when the tension is 600 Newton. So when the tension is 600 Newton, we want to calculate the extension. Tension is 600 Newton. Extension is what we want to find. So using back this formula, my T is 600. We have 600 is equal to 25 x, I don't know yet, 25x. okay, divide here by 25. divided by 25. That means that x, that is the extension, will now be 600 divided by 25 will be 24 cm. So 24 cm is that. That's how we solve that. Okay, now let's look at the number 2 question. Number two question says d is directly proportional to the square of t. From the sentence, we say that d is directly proportional to the square of t. This is the sentence. D is directly proportional to the square of t. And from here we have that d is equal to kt square, and this k remains the constant of proportionality. We look at the question. Says d is equal to 12 when t is 2. D is equal to 12 when t is 2. I will substitute that in this equation. Or rather, it says express b in terms of t. That is what I want to substitute. Substitute in this equation, you have that d is 12. We have 12 is equal to k times 2 squared, because t is 2. I substitute that, and 2 squared is 4. I have k times 4. So if I divide here by 4, this goes out this. That means that my k is equal to 3. I will now substitute this in this equation. That is, a part says express d in terms of t. Now d will now be, k is now 3. I have 3t squared, and this is the answer to the first question. Express d in terms of t. So the b part of the question says what? The b part says find the value of d when t is 3. So we are looking for the value of d when t is 3. So when t is 3, I will substitute t to be 3 here. That means that my d will be 3 into 3 squared, and 3 squared is 9. So that means that my d will be what? 27. Okay, now c part says find the value of t when d is 75. We are looking for the value of d. I'll go back to here. We are looking for the value of t when d is 75. 75, because I'm looking at this, 75 is equal to 3 times, we are looking for the value of t. So this point, I will have this to be, divide both sides by 3 first. This cancel this. That means my t squared will now be this divided by this 25. Okay, so find the square root of both sides. That means that my t will be the square root of 25, and that gives us that t is equal to 5. So this gives us the answer. And the third part says x is directly proportional to the cube root of y. X is directly proportional to the cube root of y. So the proportionality constant will be x is equal to k, I have cube root of y. Okay, now the question and the other sentence says x is 100 when y is 25. X is 100 when y is 25. Is when y is 125, sorry, when y is 125. So if I substitute x and y here, we have x is 100 is equal to k, the cube root of 125. And the cube root of 125 is 5, because 5 times 5 times 5 into 3 places give us 125. So we have this to be 100 is equal to k times 5. So if I divide both sides 5 to find my k will now be equal to, this cancel this into this is 20. K will be 20. Then the question says find the value of x when y is 20 and 64. Okay, but before I can look for that, I must find the relationship between x and y. So the relationship between x and y will now give us x is equal to 20 into the cube root of y. Okay, now the first question A says find the value of x when y is, find the value of x when y is 64. So we are going to substitute here. We have x is equal to 20, y is 64, the cube root of 64. And the cube root of 64 is 4, because 4 times 4 times 4 into 3 places is 64. So the cube root is 4. So if we multiply that, we have that x is 80. That gives us that. Then the next question, the B part, says find y when x is 40. When x is 40, we asked to find y. X is 40, then y is unknown. So for me to find y when x is 40, I'll go back to this equation here and substitute. X is 40, I have 40 is equal to 20 times the cube root of y. So divide both sides by 20, divide here by 20. That means that if I divide here by 20, I will have the cube root of y. The cube root of y, divide here by 20, this will give me 2. Now the cube root of y now means that I'm going to find 2 raised to power 3. So that gives us cube root of y. That means that my y will now be 8. And how did I find this? This is under